Good morning, trekkers. 5:45 a.m. Saturday, April 10th. Near Park Falls right now, camped there. About a 45-minute drive up to Mellon, Wisconsin. About another 5 minutes past that to get to the trailhead for the Penokee ski trails, where the North Country Trail cuts through. Hoping for about a 12 to 14 mile day on the North Country Trail. It should be fun. It has been raining for the last 4 straight days. It rained on and off last night. Everything is soaking wet. I'm expecting mud and more rain and highs in the upper 40s. So should be a somewhat challenging day today, but we'll try to keep it casual and have ourselves a good hike. And we'll talk to you from the trail. That does not look like much fun.
Total time 1 hour 13 minutes and 21 seconds. With pace 30 minutes 25 seconds per mile.
Well, good morning, trekkers. We have ourselves a overcast Saturday morning, 42 degrees and occasional drizzle. Out here on Quarry Road, a little pushed out parking area in the middle of the Penokee Mountain trail system. A bunch of ski trails. And so far, for this last 2 3/4 miles, it's largely been on ski trails, somewhat wide 2-track. It is very muddy out here. Very muddy. Boots are a little muddy. I've been able to navigate around quite a bit. But as I look over to the trail off that way, it starts off with about a 15-foot wide pond. So we'll have to find a way around and hopefully not through that. Could have asked for better weather, no doubt. 42 degrees and drizzle is not optimal, but 42 degrees isn't bad. I'll take that. Still work up a pretty good sweat. Been fortunate. This trail kind of climbs along and through a wide ridge, and you just do some ups and downs along that ridge. None of the climbs are all that major. At some point on this trail, though, we will drop off this ridge before the day is over, and then we're going to be in for some real wet, like over the ankle wet perhaps. We'll see how it goes. I could be wrong. Probably not. So the objective today is to hike this out about, I think it's around 5.5 to 6 miles to where it crosses a forest road for the second time and third time? Second or third time. We'll find that out too, won't we? And then turn around, use a little bit of the forest road, come back on Quarry Road that's out here, and make our way back. Should be 11 to 12 miles of wet and muck and gravel, and hopefully not too much more rain. We've had 4 days of rain. Today was supposed to be mostly cloudy with low humidity, and it's just a persistent light drizzle. There have been some small rain patterings come through, but not for quite a while, not since I've been in the parking lot, which has been about an hour and a half. So, well, trekkers, let's move on. Let's keep going here. We're having a good time. So Turtle, on a day like this, how do you stay warm and dry? Well, the short answer is you don't really. As far as the warm part goes, I don't have too much trouble with that. When you have a fine marbled physique like mine, not chiseled, I said marbled, you generate an awful lot of body heat and you sweat a lot. And it's actually more of a challenge staying cool, even in 30 and 40 degree temperatures for me, than it is to stay warm. Except times like this when I'm taking a break, because once you do start to cool down, you can get pretty cold pretty quick. But I bring extra layers for that. A hat really helps when you have a beautiful sculpted face like mine. Yeah. But staying warm isn't too difficult. I've got a rain jacket. I have an extra shirt in my bag. I didn't bring an extra sweatshirt with me today. I just find I generally, in 40 and 50 degree temperatures, I generally don't need that. Take it as emergency gear perhaps, but I'm never more than a couple of miles from a forest road or some other road where if I get into a hypothermic situation, I can get out and get help pretty quickly. Within an hour, I can be looking for help. I'm generally not too worried about that. There's also a little bit of cell signal out here in places too, so I'm not too worried. The dry part, start with the feet. No way. There's no way to keep your feet dry on a day like this. I pick my way around the mud puddles, doing a little bit of bushwhacking here and there. These are supposedly waterproof boots. They have Gore-Tex in them, but after about 100 miles or less on these, the Gore-Tex really starts to break down, particularly in a couple of areas right where water would seep in if it would. You can't keep your feet dry on a day like this. You just try not to go up over your ankles. One of the biggest problems with mud like this is getting your boot sucked off your foot. That's one of the big reasons to stay out of the mud. You go up over your ankle into one of these mud puddles and you stand a chance of losing your boot, no matter how tight you've got it tied on. It is boot-sucking mud for sure. I generally, in all weather, I wear 2 layers of socks. One are toe socks, and the other is a good merino wool sock. And that really does help. I mean, right now, my toes are wet. They're not soaked, they're not through, but they're wet. And when I get done with the end of this hike today, I'm going to have to get my feet dried off, or I'll have problems. The rest of the body, well, I see a lot of people, if you watch their videos, they wear rain jackets with their hoods up, and I can't do that. You saw me earlier wearing my rain jacket. That lasted about a mile, and then it came off, and it will stay off the rest of the day. It's too warm for me, even in 40 degree temperatures, even in 30 degree temperatures. It's just too warm. If you've watched some of my past videos, you've seen in 30 degree temperatures where I wear it like a cape. So, and it just keeps my shoulders a little dry. But I have an umbrella, or as my dad likes to call it, a bumblechute. And you look a little goofy out here with this thing, but I'm telling you what, I already look goofy. Whoa, what does it matter? This works great. It stows up nice and easy. I can put it on my pack strap when I'm not using it. This helps keep upper part of me dry mostly from anything but sweat. Today's not going to be so bad. Today's not going to be so bad because we're not looking at driving rains. If a thunderstorm comes through, I do have my tarp with me, and I can quickly set that up. I've done that before. Check out my Boundary Waters video, and you can see that being used in a very, very quick emergency situation. Today, it's going to be light rain and drizzle. I won't need to pitch the tarp. By the time I get the tarp set up, the rain will be past, and there just isn't a good spot to set up a tarp because everything is soaking wet. Everything. So, but I do have it with, just in case. Yeah, and it's just, hat on, hat off to regulate the body temperature. And if it really starts to rain, my legs will get wet, my shorts will get wet, and it's one of the reasons I prefer day hiking over backpacking, and it's kind of the third or fourth reason down the list. But I got 12 miles to do today. Take me 6 to 7 hours if I quit doing long monologues like this. At the end of it, I have a car. And I can turn on the heaters, and I can put clothes in front of the vents, and I can get everything dried out, including myself. I can drive around till I'm warm. I sleep in the back of that thing. Back at camp, I have a tarp set up. I've got a way to get out of this and get warm, get dry. I have changes of clothes. I have no problem. It gives you a sense of confidence and daring do when you're out on a day hike like this, knowing that, hey, at the end of this thing, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I've got a dry, warm place to be. That makes a difference. And when you're backpacking, people will tell you that's your tent. But when all your clothes are soaked and your backpack is soaked, your tent will be wet. Your sleeping bag will be damp. Just from you being around it, your gear being around it, there's just no help for it. And heaven forbid that your pack got soaked through, because then everything else is going to be wet too. That's why we have a big old rain cover. This rain cover is a little big. It was from an old Kelty Redhawk pack that I used to have. Thing was monstrous. It was my first real backpack outside of my one I had when I was Boy Scouts. It still works, so I use it. That helps keep this pack dry, because this pack is not at all waterproof. That's pretty much how you do it. You try to skip around the mud puddles to keep your feet from getting soaked, but I'm not even 3 miles into the day here, and my feet are already wet. So it's just going to happen. All right, trekkers, that's enough yapping. Let's get hiking. The last couple hundred meters of the trail has been like this. Look at this construction. It's been widened, it's been graveled. We have erosion control in place. This was a significant amount of volunteer work. And in the summer, they run this as a zip line all the way into Mellon.
Total distance 5 miles. Total time 3 hours 36 minutes.
It is fair to say that the established erosion control efforts have been subverted. Not a bad place to take a break. Yeah, and I don't know what the temperatures are. I guess I could hazard a look, but I'm guessing upper 40s. But not too bad. Trying to get the feet dried out a little bit. I think I'm actually going to change socks. I do have a spare pair of both these and the other socks. I think that's what I'll do. I could put these wet ones back on, but they are pretty wet. And then we'll get everything, the ones I put on will get wet too, but we'll get everything dried out in the car and be ready for tomorrow. Yeah, really pleasant sitting here. Can hear the frogs, can hear the birds. Heard a sandhill crane off there. There's a woodpecker out there somewhere. No cars traveling on this narrow forest road right now. It's a good place to be. Hang out for another 15-20 minutes. Change socks and go. Catch up with you. Look at that. Can you believe it? First time in about 5 days. We'll see if it sticks around or not. Look at that. That out there is Lake Superior, and on the other side of that is the Bayfield Peninsula. Wow, pavement. Just all of a sudden there's pavement, and none too old either. Wonder how long this goes on for. Very interesting. Wow, this is like 2-3 years old. Fabulous out here right now. Sun kind of poking through, the winds are calm. Haven't had a car go by in about a mile. Very pretty. The road keeps dropping and dropping, and then comes by the old quarry, which is why it's called Quarry Road. And here is the quarry pond. And on the other side, right up on the side of that ridge, is the North Country Trail. Here we are at a forest road intersection. I actually get really excited about forest road intersections. There's almost something childlike about it. Okay, I'm a kid. I think what it is that no matter which way you go, there's a hidden opportunity. There's something you haven't seen before, or something you've seen before that is just so worth seeing again. Now, if we go that way, in 8 to 10 miles or so is Mellon. You go right into downtown Mellon. And actually that's where the North Country Trail actually picks up its road segment through there up to Copper Falls State Park. But what is there in between? This way continues Quarry Road, and it ends up going all the way down to County Double G, but along the way it intersects the North Country Trail, which is what we're going to take back. But as we saw out on these little forest roads, these gravel forest roads, what did we already see? We saw Lake Superior, we saw the Bayfield Peninsula, we got an old quarry, we could see the rocks where they actually with the striations where they were blasted out and cut out. We saw a babbling brook, actually called Trout Brook, if you can believe that, and little cascades along it and pavement. Everything's a little surprise. We had swamps, we had geese, we had pheasants. Unfortunately, you guys didn't see any of that because it was there and gone before I could even get this GoPro off my pack. But I just love walking these forest roads. It's so much fun. It's easy walking for the most part. You almost have no traffic. I've seen three cars the whole time we've been on forest roads, and we have clocked in about 3 miles worth of forest roads right now, and I've seen 3 cars. Yeah, and going down this way, we'll be lucky if we see one before we hit the trail again. Oh, I just love it. Well, trekkers, we've got probably a little less than 2 miles to go before we hit back at the parking lot. You'll recall this little intersection. And I think we'll call this a wrap for today. What a great day though, huh? I mean, we had our challenges with mud, but the weather was rather fair. We just started off with a little bit of drizzle. Not much really for rain once we got on the trail, and then it quit. Now the drizzle's picked up just a little bit, but I would say that the part of the trail that's west of Quarry Road is by far the more interesting of the 2 segments here. A lot of ups and downs. There was more rock formations. It was really pretty cool being able to go up through some of those cuts and climb over those saddles. And the road walk was spectacular. That was totally unexpected and well worth it. I'll be coming back and driving along there again. Might even walk it again someday. But we're going to finish this, take a little break here, and then one last push to finish the trail for the day and head back to camp. So hey, trekkers, stay tuned for tomorrow, where we're not sure what we're going to do. It depends on what the roads look like, but want to hit a little bit more of the North Country Trail. That's a bit east of Mellon, if we can get back in there safely. If not, then I don't know. We'll find something to do, though, before we head home. All right, trekkers. Till tomorrow. Hey trekkers, coming to you live from my basement stairs. Well, it was live when I recorded it anyway. Well, Saturday's hike ended on kind of a painful note. I've suffered for the past few years with some occasional peroneal tendonitis on my left foot. That is right along here. It is extremely painful, and shortly after I had given the last little closing talk on Saturday's hike, right about the time that we recorded the birds and the coyote, it really started to flare up. And the last mile and a half of Saturday's hike was a limping affair. By the time I got back to the parking lot, I could barely keep my foot in my shoe. And it bothered me throughout the night. And when I woke up Sunday morning, it was pouring rain, my foot still hurt. You know, maybe I could have gone for a 5 or 6 mile wet hike, but I really didn't feel like it. So instead, in the pouring rain, we took the Jeep down on some forest roads in the area and just saw what we could see. Some neat hiker walking trails and just a lot of wet roads. But it was pretty cool. The forest was on good display and it was a great scouting expedition, and that's coming up next. So stay tuned for a little bit of a different adventure than what you're used to on Turtle Treks, and I hope you enjoy it. Check this out. Hunter Walking Trail, Sailor Creek. Snowmobile trail in the winter. ATV in the winter. And foot powered in all other seasons. We found ourselves a hiking spot. Yeah.
Buddy, look at this.
We are up here. This would make a beautiful loop. I'm sure that goes back out to Forest Road. Yeah. Nice. That's happening. Some of these pushbacks, whatever you want to call them, are old logging roads. See, this whole area in here was timbered probably 7 or 8 years ago. And this was a main logging road they cut in, and what they do is they berm it and throw crap in front of it so people like me don't go playing back in there, because there's not supposed to really be a road there. But it makes a decent parking area. Nobody says you can't camp there. And it's a nice area just to kind of park and hang out, have a picnic. I've done that before. Found another one. Creek right there. This has been the lower one. Oh, yeah. That was where the logging all was in. I saw a gated area back in there that was closed off. Now you got this one too. Now, since there are printed maps for this, my guess is you'll find these online as well. Information on these hunter walking trails. If you go up to the Forest Service page, you're likely to find them. These are excellent hiking opportunities when they're not snowmobile trails. definitely in need of some repair.